Aries, this didn't find you by accident. Right now, something is colliding in your life. Two paths, two offers, two voices pulling at you, quietly but urgently. One of them sounds convincing, comfortable, almost too familiar. The other doesn't beg, it doesn't rush you. It just waits, steady, grounded, real. And here's the truth most people miss. When two doors open at the same time, one of them usually isn't meant for you. So, let me ask you this, Aries. When the noise fades, when you stop explaining, which option still feels solid in your body? Stay with me, trust yourself. And if this already speaks to you, leave a comment below. Because what comes next might change the way you choose. Forever. Aries, the reason this is reaching you now is not because you were looking for answers. It's because something inside you has been restless, not loud, just unsettled. There's a subtle pressure in the air around you, like the moment before a storm breaks. Nothing dramatic yet, but your body feels it. Your breath feels different. Your attention keeps drifting back to the same thought. Something is shifting. It's as if two currents are moving toward you at the same time, not crashing loudly, not demanding your attention, just quietly arriving. One from a familiar direction, one from a place you haven't fully explored yet. And you may not even be calling them choices, not consciously, but they're there, in the conversations you replay in your head, in the offers that linger longer than they should, in the feeling that you're being pulled without being pushed. This isn't a small decision forming. It's not about convenience. It's not about timing. It's not even about what looks safer on the surface. This is a turning point that touches how you live, how you earn, how much space you allow yourself to breathe, how free you let yourself become. You can feel it because your nervous system already knows. Your mind may still be catching up, but your body doesn't lie. It never has. One path carries weight, history, expectation. It knows your name because it's been here before. It sounds reasonable. It speaks in familiar language. It promises stability without asking too many questions. The other path doesn't explain itself. It doesn't rush to convince you. It doesn't beg for permission. It simply waits, quiet, grounded, unapologetic. And here's the part most people miss. When life brings two doors into your field at the same time, it's not testing your intelligence. It's testing your awareness, because only one of them aligns with who you're becoming. The other aligns with who you used to be. You might feel a subtle tension when you imagine saying yes to one, a tightening in the chest, a sense of compromise you can't quite explain. That's not fear, that's misalignment. And when you imagine the other, even if it feels uncertain, there's a strange calm underneath it, a steadiness, like your spine remembering its strength. This is not about rushing, it's about clarity. And clarity doesn't come from overthinking, it comes from listening. So, take a breath here. Let the noise fall back for a moment. No explanations, reminder, just honesty. If only one of these paths is real, which one still feels solid when no one else is watching? Stay with that feeling, because from here, the story doesn't get louder, it gets clearer. And what reveals itself next will show you exactly why this moment had to find you now. And as you stay with that feeling, something else begins to come into focus, not as a thought, as a presence. Because what you are standing inside of right now is not confusion, it is convergence. Two offers exist at the same time in your field, not in theory, in real life, in real conversations, in real moments that linger longer than they should. One may come through a person, someone leaning closer than before, watching you more carefully, speaking as if they already belong in your future. The other may arrive as an opportunity, a door that opens quietly, a shift in work, a collaboration, a direction that feels unfamiliar yet strangely aligned, or maybe it is more subtle than that, a past option resurfacing, knocking again, reminding you of who you used to be, while another path stands open, waiting for the version of you that has grown beyond it. Here is what matters. Both offers make sense on the surface. They sound reasonable. They use the right words. They reflect parts of you that are real. That is why this moment feels heavy. Not because you do not know what to do, but because you know you cannot keep both. These offers are not meant to coexist. They occupy the same space in your life, the same time, the same energy, the same future. Choosing one will quietly dissolve the other, not out of punishment, but out of truth. And this is where I want you to hear me clearly, as if I am sitting across from you, lowering my voice. You are not on the sidelines of this situation. You are not watching events unfold around you. You are the point where they meet. Everything is responding to your presence, to your growth, to the way you carry yourself now. One offer is drawn to the fire you have always had, the boldness, the drive, the certainty. The other is responding to something newer, your discernment, your boundaries, your ability to pause before you act. That is why this feels intense. You are not choosing between good and bad. You are choosing between familiar strength and evolved power. You may notice how one option asks more of you, more explanation, more emotional labor, more compromise disguised as loyalty. The other does not demand your energy. It respects it. It does not need you to prove yourself. It already recognizes your value, and still both remain, hovering, waiting, not because you are indecisive, but because this is a moment that requires presence, not speed. This is the kind of crossroads that reshapes identity, not overnight, but permanently. So, take another breath here. Let your shoulders soften. There is no rush in this second, only awareness. Notice which offer feels louder when you are tired. Which one drains you just a little more? Which one feels calmer when you imagine saying yes, even if the path ahead is unclear? This is not about making the perfect choice. It is about making the honest one. And as the energy continues to gather, as the space between these two options narrows, something deeper begins to reveal itself. Because when offers collide like this, they are not asking for your decision yet. They are asking for your clarity. And that clarity, the kind that cannot be faked or forced, is exactly what is about to surface next. And somewhere inside that growing clarity, a quieter truth begins to surface. Not all at once, not aggressively. Just enough to make your chest tighten, and your intuition sit up straighter. Because here is the part that is hardest to accept. One of these offers is not real. Not in the way it presents itself. Not in the way it promises. The universe does not whisper this to confuse you. It brings it forward because you are ready to see it, even if part of you wishes you did not have to. The false offer rarely arrives looking dangerous. It comes dressed as familiarity, as chemistry, as reassurance. It speaks fluently about the future while staying vague about the present. It says just enough to keep you engaged, but never enough to stand on. You may notice how words flow easily from it. Grand ideas, beautiful explanations, soft apologies, strong emotions. And yet, when you look for movement, there is a pause, a delay. A reason why now is not the right time. Promises float. Commitment does not land. This is where your body begins to respond before your mind catches up. A slight fatigue after certain conversations. A subtle doubt that shows up later when the excitement fades. When you ask deeper questions, the answers circle instead of settling. They sound convincing, but they do not anchor. This offer may be tied to someone who knows you well, someone who once had access to your trust, someone who disappointed you, then disappeared, and now returns with polished words and renewed interest. Or it may come from someone who sees your momentum, your growth, your rising position, and suddenly wants to be close to it, not because they are aligned with your future, but because they benefit from being near it. This is not betrayal in the dramatic sense. It is misalignment pretending to be opportunity. And the reason this feels painful is because part of you wants it to be real. You want to believe the version being offered. You want the story to resolve easily, but your intuition is not confused. It is precise. It notices that the false offer asks you to bend just a little more than you should, to wait a little longer than feels right, to explain yourself more than is necessary. It requires you to shrink your clarity in order to keep the connection alive. And here is the truth spoken gently. The right offer does not drain you. It does not keep you guessing. It does not rely on your hope to sustain itself. It stands on its own. So when something feels slightly off, that is not fear talking. That is wisdom remembering past lessons so you do not have to repeat them. Aries, not every invitation deserves your fire. Not every open door leads forward. Some exist to test whether you will honor how far you have come. As this realization settles, you may feel a moment of grief, not for what is leaving, but for what you hoped it could be. Let that pass. Do not judge yourself for it, because what follows this moment is not loss. It is discernment. And as the fog continues to lift, another layer begins to reveal itself, one that explains why this offer appeared now and what it has been trying to take from you. That is where the story deepens. And once you accept that not everything offered to you is real, another layer of understanding begins to rise, slowly, quietly, like light entering a room you did not know was dark. Because what is happening around you right now is not random interest. It is not coincidence. It is not confusion. It is competition, but not the kind you can see clearly. The truth is, these two offers are not competing with each other. They are not trying to win the same prize. They are trying to reach the same source: you, your time, your attention, your fire, your momentum. One of them sees who you are becoming, not who you were, not who you can be molded into, who you already are. It recognizes your depth, your consistency, the way you move forward even when no one is watching. This offer is drawn to your integrity, to your ability to build something that lasts. It does not rush you because it understands time. It does not pressure you because it respects your boundaries. It wants to grow with you, not feed off you. The other presence feels different, subtler, more strategic. It studies you, your progress, your ideas, your influence. It does not want partnership. It wants access. Access to your work, access to your position, access to the energy you generate just by being yourself. This is not always malicious. Sometimes it comes from insecurity, sometimes from fear, sometimes from the belief that proximity to your light will somehow make up for what they lack. But intention matters. You may notice how one option encourages you to expand, to refine, to move forward with clarity, and how the other quietly drains you, asks for more than it gives, leaves you feeling like you have to defend your worth instead of simply standing in it. This is not about romance alone, and it is not about work alone. It is about power. Who gets to influence your direction? Who benefits from your growth? Who stands beside you when things require patience and effort? You are not imagining this tension. Your awareness is sharpening because you are no longer meant to be passive in your own life. There was a time when you could give freely without consequence, when your generosity felt limitless, but you are in a different season now. Your energy is valuable, your focus creates outcomes, your presence shifts rooms, and when that happens, competition becomes quieter, smarter, more disguised. This is why discernment is essential here. Not suspicion, not defensiveness, just clarity. You do not need to accuse, you do not need to explain, you only need to notice. Notice who respects your pace, notice who honors your limits, notice who celebrates your strength without trying to harness it for themselves. As you sit with this understanding, the fog continues to lift. You are beginning to see why this moment demanded your attention, why the false offer appeared when it did, why the pressure feels personal. Because this is not a test of loyalty, it is a test of self-respect. And the next step will ask you to do something simple, but not easy. To choose not from urgency, but from alignment. That is where the path ahead becomes clear. And now, we arrive at the part that feels uncomfortable to hear. Not because it is harsh, but because it asks you to be honest with yourself in a way you may have been postponing. When I say you need to choose quickly, I am not asking you to rush. I am asking you not to linger. There is a difference. Rushing comes from fear. Lingering comes from avoidance. And right now, the energy around you is not inviting delay. It is inviting clarity. The false offer thrives in space, in hesitation, in moments where you keep the door half open out of politeness, hope, or unfinished emotion. It does not need your yes, it only needs your maybe. As long as you remain undecided, it gains access to your time, your thoughts, your emotional bandwidth, and slowly, almost invisibly, the pressure begins to rise. Not all at once, not dramatically. It shows up as more messages, more explanations, more emotional weight. You may feel subtle guilt for pulling away, a sense that you owe something, that you should be more patient, more understanding, more available. But listen carefully. That pull is not love, it is leverage. The false offer does not escalate because it cares. It escalates because it senses distance. And distance is something it cannot afford. The real offer does not behave this way. It does not chase. It does not tighten its grip when you pause. It remains steady, clear, respectful of your rhythm. It trusts that alignment does not need force, This is why timing matters here. Choosing quickly is not about speed. It is about refusing to let misalignment drain you further. It is about closing the door fully instead of standing in the doorway explaining why you are tired. You are not meant to negotiate your boundaries. You are meant to honor them. And if part of you worries that choosing fast means losing something valuable, let me offer this perspective. What is truly meant for you will not disappear because you took a breath and chose yourself. It will remain. What disappears when you choose clarity was never solid to begin with. You are in a season where your energy creates momentum, where your focus shapes outcomes, where what you say yes to multiplies. That is why discernment now has more impact than effort ever could. So, take this moment seriously, not with anxiety, with respect. Respect for how far you have come. Respect for what it took to get here. Respect for the part of you that no longer wants to be pulled in opposite directions. You do not need to justify your choice. You do not need to explain it in detail. You do not need to soften it so others feel comfortable. Your clarity is enough, and once you decide, something remarkable happens. The noise quiets, the tension releases, your body relaxes. Because the moment you stop feeding what is false, your energy naturally flows toward what is real. That is when the next phase begins. Not with pressure, not with urgency, but with strength. And in that strength, you will feel a different kind of power rising. One that does not come from fighting, but from standing firm. That is where we are headed next. And this is where something inside you changes. Not suddenly, not loudly, but permanently. There comes a moment when you realize that strength does not always look like action. Sometimes it looks like stillness, like holding your ground, like choosing not to move. Right now, you are being asked to protect your position, not because you are under attack, but because you have arrived somewhere valuable. You have earned the right to be here, through effort, through patience, through lessons that cost you more than you like to admit. And when you reach this point, the most powerful move is not another push forward. It is knowing when to say no. Saying no is not loss. It is precision. It is the moment you close a door before it drains more of your time, your energy, your clarity. For a long time, you may have believed that strength meant endurance, that you had to stay engaged, explain yourself, prove your reasons. But that version of strength belonged to an earlier chapter. This chapter asks for something quieter, something firmer. You are no longer required to negotiate your boundaries. You are allowed to state them, and then stand behind them. You do not owe long explanations to people who do not respect your limits. You do not need to soften your truth to make it easier for someone else to accept. No is a complete sentence when spoken from alignment. And when you finally allow yourself to say it, something shifts immediately. The pressure you have been carrying begins to lift. The tightness in your chest loosens. Your breath returns to its natural rhythm. Because you are no longer holding space for what does not belong. This is not confrontation. It is self-respect. The energy you reclaim in this moment does not disappear. It redirects toward what supports you, toward what meets you halfway, toward what grows without resistance. You may notice how quickly things begin to move once you stop feeding what is misaligned. New ideas arrive. Different people step forward. Opportunities that felt distant suddenly feel reachable. This is not coincidence. It is consequence. When you stop fighting for space, space finds you. And there is something deeply healing about this realization. You were never meant to prove your worth by tolerating discomfort. You were meant to honor it by choosing what sustains you. So, if part of you feels uneasy about closing a door right now, let that feeling pass through without judgment. Discomfort does not mean you are wrong. It often means you are doing something new. And as you stand here, grounded in your decision, you may sense a quiet confidence rising. Not the kind that needs validation, the kind that knows. This is the power of saying no. It does not shout. It does not explain. It simply holds its place. And once you claim that power, the path ahead begins to respond differently. The next step does not require force. It requires openness. Because what opens after this moment is not another test. It is a reward. And that is where the story gently turns next. And once that door closes, not with anger, not with regret, but with quiet certainty, something unexpected happens. The world feels lighter. Not because your responsibilities disappear, not because life suddenly becomes easy, but because the unnecessary weight is no longer sitting on your chest. You begin to notice it in small ways. Your mornings feel calmer. Your thoughts move with less resistance. Your energy is no longer scattered between proving, defending, or holding space for things that were never meant to last. This is the beginning of what people call the soft life. But let me be clear with you. Soft does not mean passive. It means aligned. You are not doing less because you are avoiding effort. You are doing less because you are finally doing the right things. When you choose correctly, the work changes texture. It flows instead of fights. It builds instead of drains. You may find yourself accomplishing more without forcing momentum. Decisions feel cleaner. Progress feels steadier. Support shows up in places where you used to push alone. This is not luck, it is response. Life responds when you stop resisting yourself. You may see this reflected in material ways. A financial opening that feels grounded, not risky. An agreement or contract that is clear, fair, respectful. A professional situation that asks for your skill, but not your exhaustion. And perhaps most importantly, the people around you begin to shift. The ones who remain are those who meet you in balance. Those who contribute instead of consume. Those who understand that strength does not need to be extracted. You are no longer negotiating your worth. You are simply occupying it. There is a deep relief in this stage, a sense that you can exhale fully for the first time in a long while. Your nervous system recognizes safety. Not the safety of staying small, but the safety of standing where you belong. This is where abundance becomes practical, not flashy, not overwhelming, just steady, reliable, sustainable. You may even catch yourself wondering why things ever had to be so hard, why you carried so much for so long. There is no blame here, only understanding. You needed those chapters to recognize this one, because now you know the difference between effort that builds and effort that burns. You are not stepping away from ambition. You are refining it. You are no longer fighting for space. You are choosing environments that already have room for you, and as this softer rhythm settles in, another realization quietly takes shape. This ease is not the destination. It is the foundation. It is what allows the next chapter to unfold without force. Something else is preparing to meet you here, not as a test, not as a challenge, but as a confirmation, a reminder of who you have become and why this decision mattered. Stay with that feeling, because what comes next will ask you to recognize yourself in a new way. And that recognition is where the story finds its meaning. And now, as everything begins to settle, there is no need to rush toward a conclusion. This moment does not ask for urgency. It asks for honesty. You are standing here because two offers have shown themselves clearly, not hidden anymore, not disguised. One carries truth, the other carries illusion. You have felt the difference all along, in the way your body responded, in the way your breath changed, in the quiet signals you noticed when no one else was watching. Your intuition never left you. It waited patiently until you were ready to listen without fear. The right path was never the loud one. It did not demand your attention. It did not compete for your approval. It remained steady, grounded, present. The right presence did not hurry you. It did not pressure you to decide before you were ready. It trusted your timing because it was aligned with your direction. And the false one, no matter how convincing, needed urgency to survive, needed reaction, needed your energy to stay relevant. You see that now. This awareness is not something you learned today. It is something you remembered, and remembering changes everything. You no longer need to search for signs. You no longer need reassurance from the outside. The clarity you have reached is the result of every step you took to get here. Every boundary you honored, every door you closed, every moment you chose yourself, even when it felt uncomfortable. This is what alignment feels like. Quiet, solid, unshakable. The right road does not announce itself with noise. It holds you when things slow down. It supports you when effort is required. It does not vanish when life becomes real. The right person does not rush you. They arrive ready. They stay consistent. They meet you where you stand without asking you to shrink. And now, Aries, you are not being asked to fight for your future. You are being asked to step into it. There is courage in that, a deeper kind, one that does not rely on force but on trust. Trust in your growth, trust in your instincts, trust in the fact that you would not be here if you were not ready. So take a moment. Let this truth land fully. Let your shoulders drop. Let your breath deepen. You do not need to explain your choice to anyone. You do not need permission to move forward. You do not need to look back. You already know. And when you are ready, when you feel that quiet yes rise from within, choose it. Not because you are afraid to lose something, but because you are ready to claim what is yours. If this message resonated, you are not alone. Share your thoughts below. Your voice matters here. And if you want to continue this journey together, stay close. Because what unfolds from here is not about proving anything to the world. It is about living in alignment with who you have become. You already know what to choose. All that remains is the courage to choose it. Aries, before you go, there's one more truth I want to leave with you. The moment you stop chasing clarity, clarity starts walking toward you. You didn't lose anything by letting the wrong offer fall away. You made space for alignment, for ease, for a life that doesn't ask you to fight every single step. That's the part most people don't tell you. The real breakthrough doesn't arrive with noise. It arrives with relief. If your chest feels lighter right now, if your breath feels deeper, that's not coincidence. That's your intuition saying, you chose yourself, and that choice matters more than you know. This channel isn't just a place you visit. It's a space where Aries remembers who they are. Strong, yes, but also wise, grounded, awake. If this message spoke to you, leave a comment below. Not for me. For the other Aries who needed to hear, they're not alone. And if you feel it in your body that this journey isn't over, subscribe, stay close, because the next message is already forming, and it's coming when you least expect it. Until then, trust yourself. You always knew the way. The journey continues.